What's up, everyone? Welcome to the channel, or welcome back to the channel. Today is episode number 6 of the DC Universe podcast. I do this podcast every single Sunday, and just to let you guys know, this video will have spoilers for everything in the DCU so far, up through Peacemaker Season 2. So a lot of the topics today that I'm going to talk about today are going to be talking about the ending of Peacemaker Season 2 and what I think that sets up in the future of James Gunn's DCU. So, yeah. But first, I'm going to talk about Sasha Calle potentially having a role in Supergirl, the Supergirl movie next year. Sasha Calle, for those of y'all that don't know, played Supergirl in the Flash movie. The Flash movie with Michael Keaton and Ezra Miller and things like that. One of the last movies of the DCEU, right? So she played Supergirl in that. And obviously we have a Supergirl in the new DC universe already, Millie Alcock, from House of the Dragon. So a rumor came out I guess it was last week that Sasha Calle has a big supporting role in Supergirl, and it's not going to be her playing Supergirl. It's going to be her, if this rumor is true, playing one of the lead supporting characters in this movie. Right? Now, what do I think of this? I think it's really honorable of Warner Brothers and James Gunn and Peter Safran to do this. Why do I think it's honorable? Because, dude, like Supergirl could have made this girl's career. Right? Sasha Calle is an actress, right? And she was in a few things, like she was in Glow and a few other things. Glow, the Netflix series. But it could have made her career, and then James Gunn, which I'm very happy about, because James Gunn brought DC back to the forefront of where it could be, and I can't wait to see what the plans are for the DCU in the future. That's one of the reasons why I do this podcast every week, right? But some of the actors that got snubbed out of playing these characters deserve a second chance in the DC universe, in my opinion. So what if this rumor is true? So I just want to give props to James Gunn, to Peter Safran, to Greg Gillespie, the guy who's directing Supergirl, for giving her a second chance, if this rumor is true. Now, who could she play? I have no idea, right? Like, you've already cast, like, the massive roles, right? You cast Rufy, you cast Kara, obviously, you cast Lobo, so Jason Momoa's playing Lobo, and Millie Alcock's playing Kara, and then you cast Kara's Earth parents, and obviously Sasha Calle is not old enough to play Millie Alcock's mom or Kara's mom, right? So she's not going to be in that. I don't know who she could be if this rumor comes true, right? But I just hope it comes true and stuff like that. So, yeah, what do you guys think of that? Do you guys think it's really cool of James Gunn and Peter Safran and of DC Studios to do that? Give Sasha Calle a big supporting role in Supergirl, because she kind of got blindsided by the reboot and stuff like that. Do you guys think that's very nice of them to do that? Because I sure do. And yeah, so I hope you guys have enjoyed the podcast so far. But now we're going to get into the really good stuff. Let's talk about this ending of Peacemaker. So we're going to start off with Team Peacemaker forming Checkmate. And I apologize that I didn't mention this in my review. But this is another reason why I do these podcasts. Because when I do DC videos during the week, those are like my quick thoughts, like first reaction thoughts and stuff like that. And this podcast gives me a chance to like collect my thoughts and tell you guys where I think this the DC universe is going in the future. So for me, when they formed Checkmate, I didn't see it because you guys know I'm visually impaired, so I didn't read it. I just knew they formed a organization, and that was gonna be their new organization. And I'm like, and then I'm watching reviews, and I watched the Peacemaker, the podcast that James Gunn, Steve Agee, and Jen Holland host, and I'm like, they formed Checkmate. Oh my God, how did I miss that? Right. If you don't know what Checkmate is basically another Argus-like organization that in the comic books Amanda Waller forms because Argus gets taken away from her, right? In this universe of DC that James Gunn and Peter Safran are doing, it's a bit different, right? Amanda Waller's daughter Adebayo forms it, right? And it seems to me like they're gonna be the good version of Argus. Now, for those of y'all that don't know what Checkmate does, Checkmate has more superhero involvement. So like, Mr. Terrific is in Checkmate. Bruce Wayne is in Checkmate. The members that we have so far in the DCU are Sasha Bordeaux, Harcourt, Peacemaker, but Peacemaker is on Salvation right now. So Peacemaker, Vigilante, Langston Flurry, and Judo Master. So those are the members we have right now in the DCU. And yeah, what do I think this team is gonna do? Well, I think they're gonna be featured in the Amanda Waller series that's being written by the guy who wrote Umbrella Academy, and that stars Viola Davis whenever that series comes out. But I also think, because James Gunn said this is the last season of a Peacemaker TV show, I also think that we're still gonna get a show with Peacemaker in it, but it's gonna be called Checkmate instead of Peacemaker, right? Because if you realize, like, one of my complaints for episode 8 of Peacemaker season 2, the finale, was Peacemaker wasn't in it very much, right? If the show was called Checkmate and Peacemaker was a big character in that, and it was like an ensemble cast type thing, then I would be fine with that. The show was called Peacemaker though, and I don't feel that Peacemaker was in the episode 8 enough, in my personal opinion. But if they do a show called Checkmate, where you focus on all the Checkmate members, right? Like, as I said, like, Mr. Terrific is involved in Checkmate in the comic books. Batman is involved in Checkmate in the comics. Amanda Waller is involved in Checkmate in the comics, right? Like, that's why I think there's gonna, instead of Peacemaker season 3, we're gonna get a Checkmate series eventually, and stuff like that. And I think we'll also see Checkmate in Man of Tomorrow as well. Maybe even Lanterns and Supergirl. We'll see. But yeah, I think we'll see. I think we'll definitely see Checkmate in Man of Tomorrow and stuff like that. And yeah, so I think they're gonna do a Checkmate series. I don't have any insider information, but like, you guys know how knowledgeable I am about comic books, and that's where I think they're gonna head it, where I think they're headed. So I think they're gonna do a Checkmate series starring Team Peacemaker. So Peacemaker, Hardcore, Vigilante, Adebayo, and Judo Master, and any other characters that they want to introduce or bring on to Peacemaker. Bring on to this um uh Checkmate show and stuff like that. And yeah, I think they're gonna do that in the future of the DCU. Have a Checkmate series on HBO Max, right? And stuff like that. And yeah, so I have two more topics for you guys. So now let's talk about Salvation. Now, Salvation, that's a really cool cut for James Gunn to pull from the comic books, bro, to do his own interpretation of Salvation. Now, in the comic books, if you're asking Noah, what's Salvation from, right? Even I didn't know this story, and I'm a pretty knowledgeable guy about comic books, right? Salvation is a comic book story from 2008, and it's called Justice League, or JLA, Salvation Run. And what the comic book story is Waller and Rick Flag Jr., because this is in the comic books, right? They decide to put all the villains on a planet. And through that, you have Lex Luthor and the Joker fighting, right? You have a Lex Luthor versus the Joker fight. You have villains teaming up. You have villains wanting to kill each other. But you also have creatures on the planet. Just like how the end of a TV show teased creatures on this alternate Earth that Peacemaker is stranded on, right? In the comic books, it's a planet in space, I think, but it's in the comic books, it's a training ground for a planet called Apocalypse. Now, for those of y'all that don't know, Apocalypse is where a certain big, massive DC villain resides, named Darkseid. Now, before you ask, didn't Zack Snyder just do Darkseid in the Snyder Cut? Yes, but there's many different ways to do Darkseid, and I would love to see James Gunn's take on Darkseid and stuff like that. So, and basically what happens is, so the villains team up, the heroes find out about, in the comic book run, the heroes find out about what Amanda Waller and Rick Flag Jr. are doing, and they rescue the villains, right? Because they're heroes, right? And but after all the villains get evacuated from this planet, you find out at the end of the story, because the story leads into Infinite Crisis. I think that's the one. Yeah, Infinite Crisis. And if Infinite Crisis is James Gunn's, like, end game for his DCU, let's just say your boy will be very happy. Because then you can have, like, Henry Cavill come back as Superman, or a version of Superman. You can have my boy, Ben Affleck, who's my favorite live-action Batman, come back as a version of Batman. You can even have, like, Grant Gustin come back as the Flash if you wanted, or Stephen Amell come back as Green Arrow, or Tyler Hoechlin come back as his version of Superman. Like, you could have so many, like, Infinite Crisis is basically the DC version of what Marvel is doing, like with Doomsday and Secret Wars, right? So Infinite Crisis is basically DC's version of that. But I don't know what James Gunn's planning, but if that's what he's planning, let's just say your boy's gonna be very happy. So yeah, so in the show, it's a bit different, obviously. In the show, it's an alternate Earth, not a planet in space, right? And Peacemaker gets stranded there, right? What I think is going to happen, right? Because James Gunn said this is directly setting up Man of Tomorrow. Rick Flag is gonna backstab his best friend Lex Luthor now, and throw him into Salvation. And somehow Superman's gonna show up in Salvation, right? Or Clark is gonna show up in Salvation. And I think Man of Tomorrow, and this is just my theory, is going to involve Lex and Clark and whoever else is on Salvation. Lex and Clark and Peacemaker and whoever else is on Salvation. Because I think we'll see Salvation multiple times before Man of Tomorrow. I think we could see it in Supergirl. I think we'll definitely see it in Lanterns. Why do I think we'll definitely see it in Lanterns? Because James Gunn said that Salvation is a big part of the DCU. Like, a big part of the threat coming for the DCU. Like, the big, massive threat coming from the DCU. But he also said that everything hasn't been revealed yet about the multiple threats involving the DCU and stuff like that. So I think we'll definitely see Salvation in Lanterns. I think we'll definitely see Salvation in Creature Commando Season 2, which I think we'll get next year. That's just my guess. I think we'll definitely see I basically think we'll see Salvation in I think we'll definitely see it in Man of Tomorrow, and I think we'll see it at least one more time before that. So I think we'll either see it in Supergirl, we'll either see it in we'll either see it in Supergirl or Lanterns and stuff like that. I don't think we'll see it in Clayface, but who knows? So yeah. I'm just excited for like James Gunn revealing some of what he has planned for the DCU, because he said, quote, Salvation is a big part, but don't think I revealed everything. Like, don't think I revealed all the threats coming to the DCU, which makes me think there's multiple of them. So if Salvation's one of them, and if my theory's even close to right, your boy, and even if it's wrong, like, I trust James Gunn and I trust what he's doing with the DCU, like for what he's doing. So yeah. And if it leads to Infinite Crisis as like your Avengers Endgame event that he's leading up to, that's gonna happen in like a decade or a decade and a half, if that's the event that you're leading up to, your boy will be very happy, right? So yeah. Now, talked about Checkmate, talked about the Supergirl thing. I'm gonna throw in a fan casting here. And it's another fan casting for Batman, right? So you guys know James Gunn is casting his own Batman because Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson's universe is Elseworlds, and it's separate. It's a Batman universe that's on its own, right? And I want to see that that continue in that way, right? Because I've said this multiple times. Batman, that version of Batman is meant to be grounded, bro. Like, James Gunn's DCU is meant to be like comic book to the T, right? Like, You have Green Lanterns flying around. You have Superman and fighting magic kaiju and fighting fifth dimensional imps and stuff like that. Like, bruh, Matt Reeves' version of Batman and Robert Pattinson's version of Batman, even though I love that Batman because it's separate from the DCU, and I love that Batman because of what Robert Pattinson and Matt Reeves have the freedom to do and stuff like that. And yeah, so James Gunn, as you guys know, is casting his own version of Batman, right? And he hasn't cast this version of Batman yet. Hopefully it's next year, but we'll see what happens with that. Because we need Wonder Woman and Batman in this universe sooner rather than later, and stuff like that. And yeah, so Tom Hopper. Now, if you guys don't know who Tom Hopper is, he was just in Terminalist Dark Wolf, which, by the way, is a great show. Chris Pratt is also in Terminalist Dark Wolf. You guys know how tight James Gunn and Chris Pratt are, right? Who else is in it? Luke Hemsworth is also in Terminalist Dark Wolf. Michael Ealy's in it. And people like that. But Tom Hopper as Batman. Now, what sold me on this is Tom Hopper. If you guys don't know what Terminalist Dark Wolf is, the Terminalist universe focuses on Navy SEALs, and thank you to all the military that stumbled across this video. Thank you for your service, and thank you for all that you've done for the world, and thank you for fighting for us and stopping wars or and stuff like that. So thank you for your service. If any military people come across this video, but Terminalist is about like a Navy. Terminalist Dark Wolf is about a Navy SEAL doing a bunch of like CIA type spy stuff, and Tom Hopper plays a character named Rafe Hastings. My second favorite character in the Terminalist universe. I don't know why, he just is, alright? Well, actually, I do know why. He's really, really, really good and stuff like that. For me, what sold me on him being Batman and him being Bruce Wayne, because you guys know this version of Batman's gonna be older if Damian Wayne is his son, because Damian Wayne is in the comic books, he's the fourth Robin. In James Gunn's DCU, if he wants to like say that Dick Grayson's already Nightwing and like Dick Grayson and Jason Todd were the two Robins before Damian, still he's gonna be older than he's not gonna be as old as Ben Affleck's Batman, but he's gonna be older, right, than Robert Pattinson's Batman and stuff like that. So yeah, so why do I think Tom Hopper will be a good Batman and good Bruce Wayne? So in Terminalist, in Dark Wolf, he has a scene where he has to like infiltrate a like a bar, and he has to like wear a suit and be charming and stuff like that. And he does a great job at that. Now, what makes me think he could be Batman? There is a torture scene in Dark Wolf where he is interrogating somebody, and he uses a knife to do certain things. And when he's doing that, he's like, he doesn't use like a gruff voice. He's like, where is... I don't want to give you guys spoilers because I want you guys to watch the show, but he's like, where is the bad guy, or whatever. And like, when he says that, it's not like how I say it. It's like, where's the bad guy? Right? Like that style of he doesn't use a voice modulator, but he uses like a stern, like intimidating voice and stuff like that. And well, like when I look at Batman, right? He's gotta have a voice for it, but he's also gotta have a body language. Like, ooh, you don't wanna screw with this guy because he'll break every bone in your body, right? And that's what Tom Hopper showed that he had in this scene and in this show. Period. Now, the one thing against Tom Hopper is I haven't seen him in anything else but Terminalist Dark Wolf, and I don't know if he can play a American accent. I'm assuming he can, but I don't know if he can play an American accent. Now, because in Terminalist Dark Wolf, he plays somebody from South Africa, right? And he has that sort of accent. And yeah, so yeah, like that's the podcast for today. I hope you guys enjoyed episode 6 of the DC Universe the DC Universe podcast. And yeah, again, guys, this is one of my favorite videos I get to do for you every week and stuff like that. So I hope you guys enjoy it, and I hope you guys have a great day, and God bless you guys. And goodbye, and thank you for watching.